hometown video film star and director, along with the hotel queen of the entire world, here's Lou Titswell and Leona Helsby.
Thank you. Lulu and I don't know exactly how we got picked for this job, but we want to welcome all of you to the 1990 Law Follies, Skits, Lies, and Videotapes. We'll be acting as your guides through an evening of harmless fun and frivolity.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Lulu. You know, 1989 wasn't a very good year for a lot of people, including me.
Oh, I don't know. I got my picture in the paper.
Oh, Lou, only the little people get their pictures in the paper. The big people make the network news.
Oh.
So, Lou and I both had a bad year, right? A year so bad it just about took most of the glow off the entire decade. Well, we weren't the only people to have a bad year.
We weren't.
No, a lot of people didn't have much fun in 1989. Take Manuel Noriega.
Freedom Savings.
Oh, Katie Tucker.
Ken Good.
Gator football, whatever that is.
Well, at least the Bucks made it to the playoffs again.
Yes, so many people had a bad year. Why, we've invited some of them here tonight to tell their stories to you. So you can sit back, laugh like crazy, and think about how well off you are.
See, that's a great idea. Do I get to tell my story?
Lou, I'm sure the audience is dying to hear your story. We'll get to it if we have time. Watch out now, here come those pesky newspaper reporters.
Hello, I'm from the St. Pete Times. I'd like to know exactly who else is in those videotapes and what favors were being repaid. What's the state's attorney's office covering up?
Lou, I'm from the Tampa Tribune. I'd like to know what you usually eat for breakfast.
No, gentlemen, no. We promised Bill Sizemore there'd be none of that here tonight. Judge Titswell has no comment.
But she said I could tell my story later.
Well then, Leona, could you tell us how it feels to be compared to Lucretia Borgia and Marie Antoinette?
Actually, it's kind of thrilling.
Hey, that's Commissioner Selvey over there.
Commissioner Selvey, can you explain how you could borrow $400,000 from the Lacey family and then forget about disclosing it to the taxpayers?
Yeah.
Boys, take it easy. Take it easy. I can explain everything. Just listen.
It's just a little dicey. My business had a debt. A pittance came from Lacey, so payments could be met. It's no one else's business, but you're a nosy snot. Lizy, smizy, simply I forgot.
Commissioner Selvey simply won't watch. Your story of concealment sounds to us just like bosh. What you term a pittance to us is a lot. How can it be that you forgot?
He forgot.
He forgot, gosh darn God. We can't believe that you forgot. Commissioner Selvey, explain why you led the commissioners into approving an excavation permit for Lacey while criticizing staff members for trying to protect the environment.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Liceys have been waiting to exercise their right to do some excavating. To me it's black and white. As for the staff reaction, it's just a bunch of words. I'm not run by all those wimpy nerds.
Commissioner Selvey, that simply won't do. We think we have the right to something better from you. Your posture on digging is giving us fits. You're thinking it's the pits. It's the pits. It's the pits. It's the pits. It's the best pits. Yes, your whole position is the pits.
Commissioner, please explain the sale by Lacey of useless, valueless Cockroach Bay Islands to the state, followed by your resolution to have the county contribute $1 million to the purchase.
My one and only purpose, which you'll appreciate, was to help Sierra Clubbers get some land from the state. There needn't be a loser in this kind of deal. Frankly, I thought the purchase was a steal.
Commissioner Selvey, again it just proves your friend friends appear to be the ones who gain from your moves. If you're not in their pocket, you surely have links. And confidentially it stinks.
Yes, it stinks.
Yes, it stinks. Yes, it stinks. You're the king of fakes. And confidentially it stinks.
Your questions are abhorrent, it's plain as plain can be. You want to bring a torrent of abuse down on me. I'm just a humble servant, I try my best to please. I misstate my course till hell is freeze.
Commissioner Selby, we're putting it mild. You haven't got the ethics of a 5-year-old child. The public takes a beating, what can the public do? It can, Commissioner Selby, beat you.
Imagine the elected governmental official betraying our trust. Lou, have you ever heard of such a thing?
Not me.
I don't know why he didn't handle his financial problems the way Terry and I handled ours.
How's that?
Why, we just had the corporation pay for everything.
That works.
For a while, anyway. It was so much fun not paying taxes.
Well, I know something that's even more fun than not paying taxes.
You were going to bring that up.
No. This is something else.
I can't wait to hear about it, Lou. But before we go on with the show, I think we'd better have a word from our sponsors. After all, I'm certainly not going to put the bill for this evening, are you?
No, ladies and gentlemen, now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Joel High Attorney's Fees, founder of Joel's Legal Services. Somewhere in all these dusty old law books, a very important idea was lost. It's not whether you're right or wrong, it's how much will they pay to make you go away. Here at Joel's Legal Services, we emphasize quantity rather than quality. That means we never ever turn away a case, no matter how small or stupid it may seem to other lawyers. For only $25, you can sit down with one of our highly trained legal staff, some of whom actually went to law school. Here at Joel's Legal Services, we give the same degree of care to the smallest dog bite as the largest slip and fall. I'm Joel High Attorney's Fees, and you have my word on it.
If they're young or they're old, when you sue them, you're gold. At McLegal's, it's you who decides when to sue. We can settle it fast if your leg's in a cast. At McLegal's, you know, we can stoop very low. If you bring a boat today, you can solve it right away at McLegal's, McLegal's, McLegal's.
And people call me optimistic.
Not to mention greedy and selfish and patronizing.
Never mind all that, Lou. Now, what was it that's even more fun than not paying taxes?
Well, did you ever see two distinguished members of the bar get down and go after each other?
That does sound like fun. Didn't they have a bad year?
Just listen.
Any and all your lawyers, ooh, Lordy, how they can lie. When they face each other in court, it's the toughest fight you ever saw. It's one big show.
contingency. When it prevailed and then beat the appeal, he had a great big hefty fee. He ran that show, and he did it so well.
Now Arne enters the picture with Eddie's client in tow. He claimed that Eddie had cheated the client by taking too much of the dough. He changed the script, and he did it so well.
The judgment was kindly to Arnie. The client recovered some more, while Arnie himself, with a contract contingent, was thusly able to score. It was his show, and he did it so well.
But Eddie was hardly a loser, no matter what you may have heard. Though his reputation was tarnished a little, he still got nearly 1/3. He has his cash, and he guarded it well.
The lesson we learned from this story, if there is one to be learned, if you were caught between two plaintiffs' attorneys, neither one will get burned. They run the show, and they do it so well.
Now Eddie has the one story. He sued to collect a large debt. It seems that he took in some checks that were rubber. I guess they're bouncing yet. It was a plan that didn't go so well. The judge didn't purchase his story. He threw him right out of the court. It turns out the debts were from winning a gambling at a most unusual sport. He had no case, and he knew it so well. He played for high stakes at backgammon at a place with a beautiful view. While playing at Paradise Lake Nudist Camp, Ed would do what the nudists do. Just what that was, Ed would never tell.
This story too has a moral.
While playing in big games a chance,
Never accept worthless checks in payment when you're caught without your pants.
Payment is work, it doesn't work so well.
Did those characters ever get admitted to the bar?
You think that's bad? That's the cream of the crop. You should have seen the ones that didn't get in.
Well, how do they decide who's good enough to get to be lawyers anyway, Lulu?
That's a good question, Leona. Just watch and see.
Distinguished members of the Law School Admissions Committee, I have here today a list of the many talented and idealistic young people who seek admittance to law school. You have been called here today to select from this list only the most worthy applicants. I've
got a little list, I got a little list of people you can do without, you never even guess.
And now we are privileged to have with us the distinguished members of the Florida Board of Bar Examiners, who will determine what law school graduates are worthy of admittance to the Florida Bar.
I've got a little list. I've got a little list of students you can do without me never even miss.
And now we are privileged to have with us the distinguished members of the Bar Grievance Committee, whose job it is to weed out those lawyers not worthy to continue the practice of law.
I've got a little list. I've got a little list of lawyers you can do without me never even miss.
And now we are privileged to have with us the distinguished members of the Judicial Nominations Commission, whose job it is to select those individuals most worthy of serving in our judiciary. We have a list of applicants.
I've got a little list. I've got a little list of judges you can do without you never even miss. Next.
Now we'll have another word from our sponsor.
From before the moment of your birth to beyond the instant of your death, we here at Alpha Omega Legal Services are prepared to meet your every legal need. Did your mother use DES? We'll help you bring your claim, not only against the doctor and the drug company, but against your mother as well. Were you injured in a playground scuffle? We'll sue the other kid's parents, the teacher, and the whole school board. And if you want to get married, don't forget about Alpha Omega when it's time to draw up those pre-nuptial agreements. We'll draft them, witness them, notarize them, and hold them at one of our conveniently located suburban offices until you're ready to file that divorce. Because if the marriage doesn't work, just remember our full line of family law services, including divorce, child custody and support, alimony and property settlement. And if you're ever in a little fender bender out in the parking lot, don't be so sure you haven't suffered permanent physical and emotional damage. Come see us. And when it's time to think about retirement, and you know it's never too early to start, we offer a full range of financial planning and, of course, the ultimate, estate planning. And even when you're gone, Alpha Omega keeps on working for you, allowing your dead hand to control the lives of those you love, even from the grave. Yes, from prenatal to post-mortem, Alpha Omega Legal Services, for all the moments of your life.
Undignified.
Those people don't represent the bar, Leona. Lawyers aren't interested in just making money. They have higher values.
Like becoming judges?
Well, after all, what has more dignity than being a judge? Even when he's away from the bench, a judge is always the model of decorum. Calm, serious, circumspect. Just like these members of our own judiciary.
rapping. Since we are judges, we know you won't mind, as everyone knows good is hard to find. Show on the road, we proudly present the chief of the roads.
And we're rapping!
And we're rapping. Ha, ha, ha. And we're rapping. Ha, ha. And we're rapping. Ha, ha, ha.
I'm the chief, but make no mistake, I'm not that kind. From Florida State, I'm the top banana, king of the hill. Walking my shoes can be a big thrill. Say I'm great, some say I'm astute, but they all agree I'm mighty cute. I'm carrying nacho, salt in the soul. I make it look easy, cause I'm in control. And we're rapping.
And we're rapping. And we're rapping. And we're rapping.
My name is Vicky. I love to fish. Well, if you knew to, if you thought I was here in Bogle, if you saw my sis, I live down in Ruskin, cause I like the pace with Don and Sarah, and let's all say grace.
And we're rapping. And we're rapping. And we're rapping. And we're rapping.
I'm Honest Ed, and I've been told in circuit court the ropes are lined with gold, silver hammers and rockety wood. When I get to circuit, ain't that gonna be good? Yeah, we're rapping.
And we're rapping. And we're rapping. And we're rapping. Ramblin' Ralph could be my name. Not that I'm wordy, that's not my name. I've rambled through almost every division. I'm looking right now for a new proposition. My favorite dessert right after lunch is a fat cigar, the kind you munch. And we're rapping!
My former specialty was criminal defense. I hope you all won't take offense. My name, by the way, is Whittemore, and my first judicial duty was the strawberry tour. In the courtroom, I made my fame. In circuit court, I now state my claim.
And we're rapping! And we're rapping! And we're rapping! And we're rapping!
My mission I chose to accept has been in civil now, don't you forget. I came from Dade City, up the road of peace, covered the road before the big freeze. I'm a hunting man, I made the sport, track wild turkey, usually out of court. I'm the head bull of my hunting team, but my favorite deer is my lovely Jean. And we're rapping! And we're rapping!
And we're rapping! And we're rapping! For the poorhouse rappers, the righteous robes, and we hope you like our pretty prose. Where the rhythm and the rhyming is plain to see, why we don't just have to judiciary. And who never thought the likes of us would be up here rapping, it's scandalous. Look to the east and look to the west, then look here for the brightest and best. Look to the left and look to the right, that means y'all glad you can have tonight.
And if you relish for a radical rap, put your hands together, it's time to clap.
And we're clapping. And we're clapping. And we're clapping. And we're clapping.
That kind of stuff brings back fond memories.
Lulu, do you know who they remind me of? That judge in my child, who's just putting on a big performance for all those little judges.
Shame on you, Leona. A judge is entitled to absolute respect. Whatever he does, even former judges should be treated with the utmost dignity.
Well, I hope you didn't expect that from our sponsors.
Well, why not? Is there anything that can be more dignified than lawyer advertising?
Just look at this. Some damn fool wants to widen State Route 60 and angle it over Highway 4. That'll put it smack dab in the middle of our kitchen.
Honey, do you know somebody named Don Beaver? We have a letter from him.
Here, let me see that. This looks like one of them letters from Ed McMahon.
It must be Don's picture on the front of the envelope.
You may already have been selected for a fabulous inverse condemnation award. You could be the one to sacrifice your entire home at a great cost to the government when Route 60 is widened and redirected. Hundreds of other lucky homeowners will be awarded substantial sums for loss of minor footage from their front yards. So don't settle for the first offer. With my assistance, you could be this year's grand prize winner. It's better than the lotto. But don't wait. Call today at 1-800-GO-ROADS.
Don't just sit there. Let's call Don Beaver now. Maybe we'll get enough to buy that new set of crowware.
Imagine that. Terry and I did pretty well for a while at not paying any money to the government. But we never knew there was a way to get money from the government. We really could have used that Don Beaver fella.
You know what I could use right now?
I don't know, Lou. Maybe 6 teenage girls and a box of blank videotapes.
I was talking about another drink.
So's every lawyer in Tampa on Friday afternoon.
And here's where you'll probably find them.
Whoa, Bobby. I certainly appreciate you taking an old fart like me out for a drink.
Well, Arthur, it's Friday afternoon. And now that we've put that deal to bed, it's time for a little R&R. Here we are at the final stop.
What is this place?
Well, it's either RG's or the Cold Storage Cafe or maybe even the Con Club. Years ago, it used to be the Quick Red Fox or even the old Redwood Room. Actually, that looks like Jim Butler over there. We must be at the Hyatt Regency.
So, Bobby, what are we drinking these days?
Now, that depends. If you still remember your fraternity handshake, you drink beer. If you want to impress your senior partner, you drink Chivas, but you let him pay.
I'm with you.
If you're with a 21-year-old paralegal who's just moved from Bartow, you buy her Sex on the Beach. She'll like the taste and you'll like the result.
You mean there's a drink called Sex on the Beach?
Yeah, now if you've had a really bad day, a martini's always appropriate. Of course, if you really want everyone to take this seriously, you drink tequila.
Tequila?
Yeah, we call it the great equalizer. How about a few shots?
Bobby, how about if I just have a glass of white wine?
Art, you're disappointing me. If I would have known this before we closed that big deal, it would have been see you, buddy. I'll be right back.
Got a few years on you, but that's a mighty nice ass.
I beg your pardon?
I said you've got a nice ass. For God's sakes, can't you take a goddamn compliment?
Thank you.
Hey, what's wrong?
Well, I don't think I've been in this kind of a place since about 1958. Apparently things have changed.
I suppose they have, but lawyers have always spent a lot of time in bars.
Well, you know, Bobby, you're right. But back in the 50s, it was simple. We went to bars to get drunk.
Well, in the 60s, we went to bars to have philosophical discussions. Or was it for drugs? I don't remember. But in the 70s, we went to bars for sex. Or was that drugs? Well, I don't remember, but in the 80s, we went to bars so we could network.
Well, now we're in the 90s, Bobby. What are we doing now?
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm looking to have a philosophical discussion with that woman over there about why she should come back to my office for an hour or so.
Well, which woman is that?
That one, just look at her.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's an incredible physique.
Not the one with the gym bag, stupid. The one with the portable fax machine. She's got to be somebody I have to meet.
I guess networking is still alive.
For God's sake, what did you think I was talking about?
Well, sex?
Forget it. This is the 90s. Sex is history. We don't have sex anymore.
Bobby, you don't know how sorry I am to hear that.
Well, I kind of miss it myself, but when girls stopped asking me what's your sign and started asking me for my blood test results, sex kind of started to lose its appeal.
I see.
Hey, if you're still seeing, it must be time for another drink. Anyway, Art, at least things have been a lot simpler without sex now. Now we can deal with women directly, openly, and without any ulterior motives. We can treat them as our intellectual and professional equal. Hey, baby, would you mind fetching me and Art here a beer?
What? You can kiss my BMW.
Bobby, I think I know that woman. I think she's a partner at Strawberry Fields.
Well, that doesn't mean she can't fetch us a couple of beers, does it? My God, these women are sensitive. Were they like that in the 50s?
Well, I tell you, Bobby, I don't think we had women then. Except for my wife, I don't remember any. All I remember is a lot of very dull men in gray suits with narrow ties and white shirts. And hats. We all wore hats.
No women.
Yeah, but no Xerox machines, no computers, no Federal Express, no fax machines, no malpractice. And none of this jogging nonsense either, because we all expected to get old, bald, and fat. But you didn't hear much about stress either, as I recall.
Just a coincidence, I'm sure.
You know, Bobby, things sure have changed. Just look at Tampa, all those new buildings.
Yeah, Tampa's growing.
You know, with the river and the bay, you can have such a wonderful downtown here. It's such an opportunity for planned growth.
Well, we're working on it. The lawyers are doing all they can to beautify downtown, and we've been getting a lot of help from the real estate developers.
Well, that's pretty incredible because in a lot of places, the lawyers and the developers just seem to be interested in making money, no matter how ugly things get.
That's one thing that'll never happen in Tampa.
seen the plans for all the new buildings that are in the works?
Downtown.
Do you know that it's in overdevelopment that danger lurks?
Downtown.
Where do builders think that they will ever find the tenants? Don't they know that lenders will extract their pound of penance? Please slow it down. The city's not ready yet because there are some problems we cannot forget in our
Downtown. What will we ever do? Downtown. How will the cars get through? Downtown. There'll be no fun for you there.
First the Mac started building an obvious white elephant.
Downtown.
Then Dick Beard and the Canadians joined in the development.
Downtown.
Only Nancy Fairview showed he was a smarter fella. By the way, whatever Hagel's wired Arabella, please slow it down. The city's not ready yet because there are some troubles we cannot forget in our
Downtown. Where will we ever park? Downtown. What about after dark? Downtown. How did we miss the mark there? How will we deal with the projections of the Port Authority? Downtown. Are our officials heeding the will of the majority? Downtown. Success of the convention center may be an illusion, and count on the aquarium for adding to confusion. Please slow it down. The city's not ready yet because there are some troubles we cannot forget in our downtown. Too soon to die is past downtown. Greatness is almost past downtown. Good luck is coming past there.
Great city,
the goals elusive.
Tampa,
It's still the same.
where days are
We
fair.
have a very heavy rainy season.
Tampa,
It's such a shame.
seems so pretty.
If your neighborhood's
On
exclusive,
the bay
a
shore,
bleeding crime.
thoroughfare.
Gonna get it fixed or are they teasing? Yes,
Tampa,
that's the name.
where good things happen.
Just try to list a couple.
Tampa,
Still the same.
where life is
Don't make it
gay.
sound like San Francisco, please.
It's the #1 city for felonies and has been for so many years. Now to add to all of the misery, we have the Culver House Buccaneers. It's all in Tampa, T-A-M-P-A.
The Culver House Buccaneers. Well, Hugh Culverhouse wasn't always a local sports celebrity. He started out life as a simple lawyer, just like us. Thanks to Tom McEwen, though, we know what goes on with the Bucks. But haven't you ever wondered what goes on at the Culverhouse law firm? We thought it would be fun to sit in and listen in on a firm meeting.
all to order. I'm sorry to report we have had a terrible year. Winning 5 out of 16 cases this year isn't going to get us very far. I'd like to know exactly what went wrong.
Well, Mr. C, in my cases, the opposing lawyers kept wearing the same colored suits as our lawyers. I couldn't tell one from the other.
Yes, Vinny, that did get embarrassing, having the other side intercept the notes you were passing to your partners. At least you had fewer notes intercepted this year than last year. But I think I can solve this problem. From now on, we're all going to wear white suits, and we'll just ask opposing counsel to wear dark suits. What do you think of that?
Oh yes, Mr. C, I think that's a great idea.
However, we've got other problems besides yours, Vinny. Ray, I brought you in as office manager a couple of years ago to turn this firm around. What happened?
Mr. C, I've been disappointed myself in our performance. Of course, I inherited a lot of lawyers from your former office manager, Lehman What's-His-Name. And most of them had bad attitudes. Most of them are gone now, but I traded a lot of them to howling at night for phosphate claims. And that didn't work out very well. You know, rebuilding's always a slow process.
Yes, and I know you've come a long way. I remember when we were only winning 2 cases a year.
But I think I have to take some of the blame. Maybe these boys need a little better coaching. They need a little more consistency. Take our big trial in Washington. The other side just pounded us for most of the trial. I mean, we couldn't win an objection to save our lives. Our witnesses mangled their stories, and it got to where our lawyers didn't want to stand up and say anything anymore. But then Vinny gets up, and in the last 2 minutes of his closing arguments, he puts on one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Bang, bang, bang. He's making point after point. Nobody can believe it. I really thought we were going to win that one.
But we lost.
Yeah, we lost, but we came close. We came close a lot. A few less objections sustained, and who knows what kind of a year we could have had.
Mr. C.
Yes, Mr. Wilder?
Mr. C, I think it's partly my fault. You know, I've gotten old and slow, and I just can't carry those heavy legal arguments like I used to.
Yes, James, I appreciate that, but you've been a pillar of this firm for many years. I remember when you were the only good lawyer we had. We're grateful for what you've done in the past, and we're not blaming anything on you.
Call Dallas. See what you can get for him.
Anybody have questions?
Yes, sir, Mr. C. I was wondering why I didn't get to play much this past year.
Let me answer that, Mr. C. Roderick, as you know, we had some difficulty negotiating a contract this year, so you missed all of our practice trials. We did send you in some cases, and you made some pretty devastating hits in cross-examination, but you just weren't familiar enough with the little things, like when to stand up and when to sit down. But don't worry, your law school record shows you have a lot of potential, and I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of action this coming year.
Anything else?
Yes, Mr. C. I was always wondering why you wear those loud green jackets all the time.
Well, Vinny, in the first place, they're loud orange jackets. I think I'm starting to understand part of your problem. But frankly, the main reason I wear them is to prove to everyone that I have so much money I don't have to care what anyone thinks of me.
Will I be that rich someday?
I don't know, Vinny. The last person who asked me that question was Doug Williams. Why don't you win a few more big cases and then we'll see.
I'll try, Mr. C. Mr. Steve, I still think all we really need is a little more consistency. If we can pick up a few good young lawyers out of law school to fill some of the holes, to give us some backup, we'll be a much stronger team next year.
I certainly hope so. Anything else? No? Well, I guess that concludes the meeting. Now, men, I want just one more thing from you. I want you to get out there and win the next one for the Jipper.
Mr. C, that's Gipper.
What?
Gipper.
It's not Jipper?
No, it's Gipper.
I can't believe it. I'll have to rethink everything. We may have to lower our fees.
Oh, Mr. C, just remember, my contract's coming up for renewal next year.
Ah, that's right. Thank you for bringing me back to my senses, boy. Okay, men, let's get out there and get 'em. Sometimes it's hard to be an owner. You feel you're so misunderstood. The fans berate you and say they hate you just because they think the team's no good. What do they want from me, I ask you? It isn't me who drops the ball. I'll let the fans know I've got Orlando and Sacramento's starting to call. Stand by your fans. You've got the TV money that makes the game seem funny. Who cares who scores the most points? Stand by your fans. Wave to them from the skybox on days it's raining in the stands. Stand by your fans. Stand by your fans. As long as you get wealthy, the P&Ls look healthy. Right here in Tampa you'll stay. Stand by your fans. They want a team forever. Don't tell them you've got other plans. Stand by your fans.
Hell of a way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Are we ever going to get a secondary?
He almost always has a bad year, but not quite as bad as mine. Now, do I get to tell my story?
In a few minutes, Lou. Take it easy. Our sponsors still have a few things to say, and after all, they've paid good money for the chance to sell their services.
Hold the ethics, hold the morals, look in your case and rake the laurels. All we ask is that you let us do it our way. Hold the truth, it won't concern us, lest there's some way it can burn us. All we want from you is the retainer you'll pay. Do it our way, at Lawyers Are King. We have experts who'll say anything. Do it our way, we promise you'll win. At Lawyers Are King.
Hello. I'm Joe Fine of Fine and Forecash. While other firms tell you what a great job they're doing, we here at Fine and Forecash prefer to let our work speak for itself. Just listen to a few of our many satisfied clients.
I always blamed myself for dropping little Billy on his head. But that was before I spoke to the lawyers at Fine and Forecash. They told me his problems were really caused by the doctor who delivered him. You know, I always thought he'd end up flipping burgers just like his brothers. But the lawyers at Fine and Forecash said their experts discovered that it's much more likely Billy would have graduated from MIT. So I guess it's not really surprising to ask for $3.4 million in damages. Thank you, Fine and Forecash.
A few months ago, the wife and I had an accident out on 275. At the time, we thought we were real lucky to walk away with a few minor scrapes and bruises. That was before we talked to the lawyers at Fine and Forecash, and they told us all about the psychological damage we had suffered. They showed us a videotape of mannequins going through the windshield at the same speed we were. Ethel hasn't had a good night's sleep since, and I may have to quit my job. Good thing the lawyers at Fine and Forecash were able to estimate our real damages before we settled with the insurance company. Thank you, Fine and Forecash.
Why is it so dark in here?
I don't know. I think they're trying to remind us of the day we got our Christmas present from Tico. No, my camera uses batteries, so things are pretty normal at my house.
Do you keep carrying that camera around anyway?
Well, I've been working on a documentary for public TV. Kind of a sociological thing, the effect of illegal drugs on teenage girls.
That sounds very relevant.
Well, it certainly seemed relevant to me until I ran into some legal difficulties. Do you know how troublesome that can be?
Do I ever? I still don't know how Harry and I got into such a mess over a silly little thing like tax evasion. Those little people were supposed to take care of everything. You know, those accountants.
You thought your accountants were taking care of everything?
Oh, yes.
The Elvin Martinez defense. Didn't work for you either, right?
I don't see why they have to tax me. The government doesn't do anything for me. It just gets in my way.
Me too.
You think people in Tampa feel the same way, Lulu?
I don't know. Let's check with these folks.
Governor Bob. You hear that, Governor Bob? Don't tax us.
I understand, and people, you can all relax. You know with me there'll be no tax. I understand. Just stick with me. We'll make that legislature bend. I'll never go for tax and spend. That's not my brand. We'll make ends meet by cutting down on service. That makes those Democrats squirm. But taxpayers have no call to be nervous right through my second term. Now that you know that all your worries are in vain, perhaps you'll give to my campaign, so I'll understand.
Say, wait a minute. That guy by the dolphin, that was Governor Bob. You know, he's the one who took my job away.
I don't even know what your job was, but I said good for him.
No, you don't understand. He didn't understand. I can't explain everything.
Lulu, these people have been sitting here a long time. They're tired. They don't want to hear your story.
Oh, they don't? Look, you promised.
Well, what's that got to do with anything? I lied on my tax returns. You think it's going to bother me to lie to you?
You just can't trust anyone.
Well,
that's about it. What do you think?
Well, that's about it. We figured we'd done enough damage to the First Amendment for one night.
Well, tell you what.
Telegram.
I have a telegram for you. You don't know how happy I am that my name didn't come up tonight. Stop. Although I do have a wonderful sense of humor about myself. Stop. Signed, the world's greatest tax lawyer. Don't stop. Sherman P. Simmons.
No. Thank you, Sherman. We would like to thank the Bar Association for making this evening possible. Furthermore, we'd like to thank Jim Selvey, Ed Rude, Arnie Levine, Hugh Culverhouse, Dave Burke, H.L. Culbreth, and the rest of Tampa for making this necessary.
And thanks to all of you for sitting here when you could be billing hours back at the office. Although you're probably billing hours now anyway.
Assessment for all the slander awards for tonight. Tonight was a very special occasion for the bar and the bench. It's a chance that we use once a year to come together just for fun's sake, and we appreciate the work of everyone in the cast. They have been planning and rehearsing and working very hard at this for a period of several months, and I thank all of the members of the cast. There are a number of people that deserve our special thanks, and I'd like to do that at this time. The first person is just a delightful person, just extremely talented. It's Karen Busick, who's been the director of the Karen has been the director of this Follies since their inception. She's a tremendously creative person. The cast all tells me she's also quite a taskmaster to get the kind of performance that we did, and the bar is very happy to present her with these roses. Karen that we got some special roses that don't have nearly as many thorns as she gave out tonight. The next person I want to thank is in absentia. He's not here tonight, Ted Corley. Ted, again, since the inception of the Follies, has been our lyricist and our musical director and has done a great job. He's recently retired from his job as an administrator at Carlton Field, but he's traveling in Europe, but he promises Karen and the rest that
that he'll be back and work with us next year. Next, two people that have worked very hard, Liz Hollister-Gordon and Joe Lee. Liz works with Karen as the assisting director, working on the lights, the staging, and the sound. Has done a very good job, and I'd like she and also Joe Lee, who is our pianist, who keeps everybody somewhat on tune. I'd like them to come forward and take a bow. Special thanks to a very special person. She said some things on stage tonight that I guarantee you she would not say if she was not acting a role. This person is the founder of our Law Follies and has been with it since the very beginning, and she just does a tremendous job. She's a dynamo. She started from scratch this year. She is also the chairperson and has done a tremendous job and has it to the point where this many of us enjoy the Follies. A really, really special person. Catherine Novak, please come. I don't want to let the night go by without thanking our bar staff that worked so hard on this, particularly Denise Buckman, our executive director, and Cheryl Lyons from the bar staff. Please sit down. Finally, we owe a great deal of gratitude to Fred Mellon, who Catherine says effectively chaired the program this year and took on a very big role in the Follies and is going to be our chairperson next year and promises to work just as hard with all the effort that's gone into it, particularly with the role he had tonight. I do hope that's not really his video camera. I don't think Fred can handle the temptation. But with all the work that he's done, he certainly deserves your applause and this champagne from the bar, and I hope he puts it to good use tonight. Again, we appreciate very much your coming. We appreciate all of the members of the judiciary, all the lawyers, all the other people that worked with us. We hope you had a good time, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you very much.